the Compliance Kitchen podcast. This is Sylvia, and today let's take a look at a recent business advisory in regards to Cambodia. So if you guys are doing business in Cambodia or thinking about it, this might be relevant to you. So on November 10, OFAC issued a notice of this Cambodia business advisory on high-risk investments and interactions. State, Treasury, and Commerce departments all caution U.S. businesses currently operating in Cambodia or considering doing so to be mindful of interactions with entities and sectors that are potentially involved in human rights abuses, various criminal activities, and corrupt business practices. Now, the advisory itself addresses two primary areas of risk exposure for U.S. companies doing business in Cambodia. The first one is illicit finance activities and related risks for the financial, real estate, casino, and infrastructure sectors. And the other primary area in the advisory is the involvement with Cambodian entities that are involved in trafficking. Could be persons, wildlife, also narcotics, in Cambodia, and related risks for the manufacturing and timber sectors. So the advisory tells us that, probably not surprisingly, corruption in Cambodia is endemic and widespread. It's being made worse by an increase in foreign investment from investors willing to engage in various corrupt practices in the country. And of course, this goes hand in hand with what at times are opaque official and unofficial investment processes in the country. The advisory notes that the Cambodian financial sector experienced a meaningful growth over the past few years. And now we have 51 commercial banks, 14 specialized banks, and 82 microfinance institutions that serve a population of 16 million in Cambodia. So this is a 50%, roughly 50% increase in the country's financial institutions in the last 5 years. So it's very significant. The problem is that many new banks that entered the market in Cambodia did so with a minimal due diligence or regulatory scrutiny. There's a limited access to information, limited capacity on the part of the regulators and banking staff to identify suspicious transactions or to supervise the banking processes. And as a result, Cambodian banks are often used as vehicles for illicit money transfers, supporting money laundering and similar illegal activities. So the business advisory notes that businesses should be particularly aware that there are limited regulations and oversight for the financial, casino, and real estate sectors. Also, proliferation finance risks related to North Korea, which, as you guys know, is a sanctioned country under the U.S. law, and ongoing human rights abuses. Due to the lack of adequate mitigation measures, Cambodia was publicly identified, or we can say gray listed, by the Financial Action Task Force, or FATF, for strategic anti-money laundering, countering the financing of terrorism deficiencies. This was in February of 2019, and the country remains gray listed pending completion of its action plan to improve these deficiencies. For the latest updates on Cambodia's efforts to combat money laundering, terror financing, and proliferation financing, if you want more information, you can visit the FATF's, again, that's the Financial Action Task Force website. Now, in addition to Cambodia's weak anti-money laundering and countering financing of terrorism regime, vulnerabilities include a largely cash-based, dollarized economy and porous borders. In 2020, Cambodia was added to the countries of concern list in the State Department's report to Congress on major wildlife trafficking countries, which means the US government has serious concerns of either high level or systemic government involvement in wildlife trafficking. So as always, this is a summary, but if you guys again are doing business in Cambodia or are thinking about it, this business advisory might be of interest to you, and I have a link to that and a post on the compliancekitchen.com website.